Hey there. Hello, my friends. Welcome back to the She Thinks Big podcast. I am here to share with you something I think is very, very important. But before we dive in, I want to ask, where are you listening from right now? Are you in the car? Are you stuck in carpool lane? Are you mentally running through the million things on your to-do list? Are you on a walk? Are you squeezing in some fresh air in between your packed day? Or, maybe you're in the kitchen unloading the dishwasher or reheating your coffee for the third time. I actually, this morning, am recording a bunch of podcasts. So I do have my coffee here with me. But wherever you are, I love that you've made space for this, that you're letting yourself think big while you tackle your day. And today, I want to talk to you about something that I think can truly change the way you lead, in the way you interact with your clients and with your team and with your family, and the way you feel in all of it, the way you feel in your business, the way you feel in your personal life. And it's inspired by a couple things. Number one, I did do a survey of my audience and ask them what other podcasts they listen to. And one of the top other podcasts that they listen to was the Mel Robbins podcast. So that's partly why I'm doing this episode. And another reason is over my recent vacation in Antigua. If anyone would like to know about Antigua, let me know. I read the Let Them Theory. And this episode is also inspired by a client who was recently going through something pretty challenging in her workplace. And we relied heavily on this let them, but the let me portion of the let them theory. Okay, so if you haven't figured it out, this episode is inspired by the let them theory that Mel Robbins brought to light. But before I go any further, I do have to address the fact that there is some controversy over Mel Robbins bringing this let them theory to the world, in that there was a person named Cassie Phillips who, prior to Mel Robbins, had what was called the Let Them movement. And those out there in the world are questioning why Mel Robbins constructed a whole narrative, a whole book around this theory, when she admittedly, through a quick little video that she created, admitted that she had heard Cassie Phillips talk about it early in 2022, really long before Mel Robbins brought it to the forefront. So I don't want to diminish the value of Mel Robbins and what she has done, but I also want to give credit to Cassie Phillips. Because, hey, girl, if you were talking about this before her, you were onto something. Okay. So hopefully I'm giving them both some kudos this morning. All right, back to the discussion here. So here is the thing. I want you to take a look at this Mel Robbins let them theory, but I want us to take a step further and add in the let me piece that really puts me and you back in the driver's seat. Because here's the thing, you cannot control other people. Your mom told you this when you were a kid, and it's true. You cannot control other people. You cannot force your team or your clients or your family to act the way you think they should. And believe me, I'm with you. Like, I think that things should go down a certain way. But what you can do, I want to focus on what you can do. You and I can control ourselves. And that is where the magic happens. So are you ready to let go of the stress that other people are They are not creating that for you. It's your thoughts about what they're doing that is creating the stress for you. But are you ready to step into a way more powerful way of thinking, which I think happens on the let me side of the coin? Let's dig in a little bit. All right. So I want to start with the foundation of Mel Robbins' Let Them theory. It's simple, but it's powerful. If you haven't read about this, here's a little recap. When people do things that frustrate or disappoint or confuse you, let them. So that client that ghosts you, let them. That team member who doesn't take ownership, let them. That competitor who suddenly shifts into your space, let them. Now, before you start yelling at your phone thinking, Andrea, I can't just let things happen, hear me out. Let them doesn't mean you or I roll over and accept bad situations. It means you and I stop wasting time and energy trying to control things we never could control in the first place. And instead, I want us to shift our energy to let me. Okay, so this is a really good example of that analogy. Sometimes I use of turning the dial on the old-fashioned radio or the old-fashioned TV or air conditioner. Okay, I want to shift the dial. I want to turn the dial from the other people to yourself. I want to shift from being frustrated by what others are doing to owning our energy and owning our power in the thinking of let me. Okay, so shifting to let me is really about taking back control in your business and in your life. So if let them is about releasing control, then let me is about stepping into ownership. So let me focus on what I can control. Let me show up as the leader my business needs. Let me set the boundaries that keep me sane. Let me decide how I want to respond to challenges. Okay, I want you and I to break this down in real business terms. Okay, we're going to break it down. We're going to go a step further. We're going to get deep here, people. Okay, and I want you to think about your power. So I am going to give you 5 ways on how you can apply the let me, let them, and the let me in your business. You ready? All right, here we go. Number 1, leading your team, leading the people in your business without micromanaging. Okay, ready? So let them. Your employees are not you. Okay? They will not do things exactly how you would. They will not do things exactly how you would. So let them figure things out, even if it means that they make mistakes. While let me set clear expectations and create a culture where they feel supported. Okay? Let me give them ownership and let go of micromanaging every single detail. Right? So here, let them figure things out. Let them do it their way while letting me set some clear expectations and give them ownership, right? And let me let go of managing every micro micromanaging every detail. So do you see how there's a nice synergy somewhere in the middle there? And if you and I are constantly hovering over our kids or our team, we're not leading, right? We're babysitting. We're helicoptering. And nobody has time for that. I mean, do you have time for that? I think that sometimes I hear that frustration from my clients, they feel like they're babysitting or micromanaging, and no one has time for that. Okay, so that's number one, right? Leading without micromanaging. That's one way you can apply this theory. Here's a second way. Dealing with clients who don't align. Okay, so let them. Some clients are going to undervalue your work. Some won't follow through. Some will disappear when it's time to pay. Let them. Let them. And let me focus on attracting the right clients, the ones who respect my work, who align with my values, and are ready to invest. So instead of spending energy trying to convince someone to work with you or me, let's spend our energy finding the ones who already see our value. Okay, so that's number two, dealing with clients who don't align. You can use this let them, let me theory. And here's number three, managing expectations and handling criticism. Okay, so let them. Not everyone will understand or support your vision. Not everyone will like your prices, your services, or your decisions. Let them. And let me stay confident in my worth. Let me make decisions that serve my business long term, rather than reacting emotionally to every piece of feedback. Because here's the truth. No matter how perfect you or I try to be, someone will always have an opinion. Let them have it. And you and I keep moving forward. Okay, now here is a story, a real life story of kind of what inspired me a little bit to create this podcast. It definitely was something I was thinking about. My client, okay, this client actually has a CEO. She is not the CEO. She is the COO of a business. And she's been there for 4 years. And she has a vision. And she thinks actually it aligns with the CEO's vision. She thinks they're actually on the same page. Okay. But this CEO is very critical of her work a lot of times, telling her that she is not living up to expectations or not doing it in the way that the CEO would. So guess what she's doing right now as I'm recording this? She is telling them that she is out of there because she's borrowing on the let me. She's staying confident in her worth. She's making decisions that serve her long term rather than being emotionally caught up in every piece of feedback, which she was doing. So kudos out there. You know who you are if you're listening. All right. And that brings me to number 4, because she is handling this, right? So number 4 is using this theory to handle setbacks and business challenges. And it might look like this. Let them. The market will change. Competitors will do things differently. Economic shifts will happen. Your business may shift. Let them. Let all those external things happen. Let them. And let me adapt. Let me innovate. Let me take action based on what I can control. So instead of obsessing over external circumstances, I want you and me to ask, what's our next best move? And that's kind of what she's doing this morning. What's her next best move? What's my next best move? What's your next best move? Which brings us to the last or the 5th way I see that you can use this let them, let me theory. If people don't respect your boundaries, your time off, your pricing, your work-life balance, let them. And let me create the structure I need to show up as my best self. Let me take time for self-care, personal development, strategic thinking. Because here's the thing, if you or I burn out, are overwhelmed or resentful, who's that helping? Certainly not us. Certainly not our businesses. So that fifth one, prioritize yourself as a business owner. Let them think all they want about you prioritizing, and let me keep doing it because I know that's what I need to be my best self. All right, so bottom line, stop wasting energy on the wrong things. I want you to think about this. How much energy have you or I spent trying to change things that we have no control over? How much time have you and I lost stressing over what someone else is doing instead of taking action in our own businesses? Let them and let me is all about reallocating our energy. It's about freeing ourselves from unnecessary frustration and directing our focus toward what actually moves the needle. And this is really what I am doing in coaching. Why do I call my mastermind Runway to Freedom? Because I am helping my clients reallocate their energy. I am helping them free themselves from unnecessary frustration and helping them direct their focus toward what actually moves the needle. So here is what I want you to do this week. When you and I find ourselves spiraling over something someone else is doing, let's pause and ask, can I just let them? And if I do, what can I focus on instead? Because that is where the shift happens. When you find yourself spiraling over something someone else is doing, ask yourself, can I just let them? And if I do, what can I focus on instead? That's the magic, my friends. That's where the shift happens. Okay, that's what I've got for you today. I'm going to leave a link in the show notes to the book. So if you just want to hop right down there, click it and get a copy of The Let Them Theory by Mel Robbins for your own bookshelf. I highly recommend you do that. I want to hear what you think about this. But before you go click that button, I want to thank you for taking me along for the ride today. Whether you're walking the dog or sitting in traffic or folding yet another load of laundry or hiding in your closet for 5 minutes of peace. I see you. I've done that before. Or even in the garage. That's where I used to really go. I love that you spent this time with me. And if this episode hit home for you, share it with someone who needs to hear it. And if you're ready to apply this work to your own business, come join us in the mastermind or come join us in any of the programs I offer. Go over to andreaslinks.com and book a call with me. I'm serious about this. There is no reason that you and I shouldn't talk. The worst thing that can happen in our 20 minutes of chatting is that you leave with some aha moment. And that's really not so bad. So let's get you and me out of the messy middle and into our extraordinary, into our big thinking. All right, my friends, I'll be back next week. Until then, keep thinking big. Big hugs. See you next week.